Is that what he was telegraphing?
Yeah.
In the watch the next 48 hours, and how significant?
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I hate the way he treats diplomacy and news from the White House. Like, I'm sorry, like, yeah, y'all remember say it for next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z, 9 minutes of Vegeta fuming, 11 minutes of Goku fretting, plus somebody throws a punch. To find out who, tune in next week to Dragon Ball Z!
What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Trey.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Back at it with another video.
Another one.
First and foremost, for those of y'all that are returning, welcome back. For those of y'all that are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'm a new YouTuber and it's helping me continue to grow. And make sure to hit me up in the comments. Let me know if y'all are feeling the content, not feeling the content, what you would like to see, and things you would like to change. We're going to be reacting to another video from Breaking Points. And yeah, breaking news, you know, we're sending more troops over to Iran, right? In preparation for what? Because I don't know. We are still in the process of negotiating. So yeah, what are the troops going there for? You know, it could be a show of force to bolster negotiations, or we could be about to put boots in ass. Like, who knows? But without further ado, let's get into the video. Bang.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. We have an amazing show for everybody today. All right,
up,
hit
man?
it up. There we go. Fascist. Oh, we almost put the arm in an interesting
The
way. there.
Roman, as
Fascist
Elon would say.
Roman salute here. Fascist points with the.
I do have to say, so I appreciate the hosts on all of the independent media that I do watch and that I do choose to share with you all, even if I don't agree with them all the time. But Sagar sometimes is kind of cringe, and I disagree with him a lot, but the balance that they have on the show I appreciate. Emily, she's not as over the top as Sagar, but for the most part I don't agree with a lot of her takes either. But yeah, you know, surprise, surprise, they're both pretty conservative, so whatever.
Sagar and Emily gotta keep the arm down, right?
You gotta keep the volume down, man.
The volume? What?
Just
This is
shouting.
what it's all about, Emily. All right, we can remember, you know, all of our predecessors, they would speak loudly and formally, just command attention. All right, I'm giving the critics enough there. What are we starting with? We have a huge breaking news here. Thousands of more troops that are headed to the Middle East. We added it in as of this morning, so we're gonna do a little bit of mini block here at the top just to update everybody on the situation with Iran. We're also going to talk about inflation. That is by far our biggest story. We have the IMF, which is warning about rapid inflation spreading across the entire global economy. Gas prices, $4.11 a gallon here. Beef is going up. Fertilizer.
Hey, yeah, by the way, let's talk about it. Look, I'm gonna let y'all know more and more about me as I continue to grow this thing. I'm just trying to be careful. I'm new to all this stuff, so I'm not trying to put too much out there. Anyway, look, I just filled up today, right? I want to say around the time that I started this whole channel, it was probably like a month and some change ago. I want to say gas was at like $2.50. Yeah, today I filled up, it's at $3.70. So in a month, it's gone up, what, $1, $1.20, $1.25 ish. And yeah, like, you know, you watch enough news and stuff like that, there's really no sign that it's going to go down. But y'all let me know. Let me know where y'all are at in the world and what the increase has done to y'all. If it's affected y'all. I know it's affected y'all some, but yeah, so that's where I'm at. South Carolina, $2.50 to $3.70 or $3.79. I can't remember off the top of my head now, but it's $1 and change.
is drying up for farmers. Things are not looking good here in the United States of America. Emily, we're going to talk about polling. And the vice president at an event yesterday with TPUSA did not look good for him, for the administration. Basically, a stadium, which was like, what, a quarter full? What would you say? I mean, look,
May have been less than that.
Bad luck. Yeah, it was bad luck. And giving some pleas to younger conservatives to not flee the movement. We'll see how it works out.
I'm sorry to stop it again immediately, but I got to talk about it since they brought it up. Hey, y'all got to find another person. JD is not the guy. He got no sauce, no juice. They keep giving him all the shittiest of jobs, and not only that, he's just a weird, creepy dude. That'd be like Stephen Miller running for president, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, at this point, with everything that he's been involved in and all the stuff that he's had to say and the clips that you could play of him, he's never going to be the guy. He can be the guy behind the guy in the shadows. The less we see him, the better, you know, he's going to be able to operate. JD is becoming that guy. I'm sorry. He's becoming that guy. The more we hear from him, the more we see. They're setting him up in all these weird spaces. And then, like I said, I think people are starting to, I hope, I can only hope, that people are starting to wise up to the whole TPUSA thing. And it might be due to the fact of Erica Kirk becoming a CEO and how she's been operating and stuff like that. But either way, yeah, he's not your guy. He's not your guy. I hate to give fucking conservatives advice, but that dude, hey, y'all better find somebody else.
Europe, this is a fascinating story. So we covered the Pope fracas yesterday. It turns out now
Fracas, okay.
Yeah, it's a good, you know, we'll pepper a little SAT verbiage in here. So we had the Pope fracas yesterday, which we thought it was over. Well, no, it's not over. So the Italian Prime Minister, Meloni, she's defending the Pope, and now Trump is trashing her. And then the Italian Prime Minister is now suspending a defense agreement with Israel. So really fascinating in terms of how this war just continues to rewrite geopolitics. Shael Ben Ephraim is going to join us. He is a geopolitical analyst. He's an Israeli. He's going to join us to talk about this Lebanese-Israeli meeting that happened here in Washington yesterday. I believe it was the highest level talks.
I'm cutting all this out.
Since the 1980s. So interesting, but of course, you know, Israel wants to keep bombing Lebanon, violating the ceasefire that originally was agreed upon by the United States. So I'm interested to hear what he said. And he had a very fascinating breakdown and kind of interest in the domestic politics of Israel, which I didn't fully know. And then finally, we are going to talk about these scientists, and there is a now 10th missing scientist who is linked to all of these missing scientists. We're going to be joined by Lauren Conlon of Pop Crime TV. I saw a segment that she did, Emily. Phenomenal job. She's one of those like true crime people, and she really like delves in to the details. So it's much better than to hear from an idiot like me. And then, of course, everybody's favorite, Professor Robert Pape, the escalation trap, will be joining us at 10 a.m. to break down, I think, not only just these latest troops into the region, but also kind of the bigger picture, whether we're in a real ceasefire or not. We're always interested to hear what he has to say. Before we get to that, thank you to everybody subscribing to the show, breakingpoints.com. We are doing the AMA today. We went a little late yesterday, so we weren't able to do it. And then, of course, if you're listening to this on a podcast, please share an episode with a friend. And on YouTube, go ahead and hit subscribe to our channel. 2.02 just doesn't do it for me. What's your number?
Oh, you want?
Yeah. Well, but it needs to be
50,
clean. What's your
50
clean?
million. 50 million.
50 million. Oh my
million.
God.
That's why we're here.
That's like
why we're
Mr. Beast
shouting.
nonsense. Let's be honest. We got to set reasonable goals. Crystal's at 2.5.
Mr. Beast type
Crystal's
character.
2.5. I'm 2.22. We could stop right there.
Oh,
2.22.
yeah,
like
that's
nice,
good.
clean. I like 2.0, but then immediately went up to 2.01 thanks to you. I think you're the person who gave, you and Ryan were begging, and I was like, no, you got to stop. We have to stop at 2. All right, let's go ahead and hit it. Let's get to the mini block. So turning now to these ground troop news, I'm going to put this up here on the screen. Washington Post, Dan Lamothe reporting U.S. sends thousands more troops to the Middle East as Trump seeks to squeeze Iran. The deployment includes sailors and Marines due to arrive as the administration attempts to enforce a maritime blockade against the regime in Tehran. Pentagon sending some 6,000 troops aboard the aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush. Several warships are escorting it. about 4,200 others with the Boxer Amphibious Group and its embarked Marine Corps Task Force, the 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit, are also expected to arrive near the end of this month. So this infusion of firepower, quote, appears likely to coalesce with warships already in the Middle East as a 2-week ceasefire is set to expire. The troops will then join the estimated 50,000 personnel the Pentagon has said are involved in operations against Iran. So Emily, I mean, something Crystal and I always point out, these ceasefires, there's talk.
Yeah, before he gets into it, so how do y'all feel? Like, y'all let me know. That many troops in the area, do y'all think, you know, it could just be a show of force, right, to bolster your position in the negotiations? But what do you think? Are we getting ready for the inevitable? Because I think the only way that Trump can really save face is to put boots on ground, to get a victory, right? To save face, to get a true victory, it's going to be boots on ground. Yeah, and I think that's what he wants. I think he doesn't like the coverage, the way he's looking with this. And if he really wanted to negotiate, you know what I'm saying, he wouldn't have went to the USC fight last week. So I don't think he wants to negotiate. I think he wants problems. I don't want peace. I want problems. Always.
There's reports, there's all this. You got to follow the troops. You don't send 2 or 3 aircraft carriers to the Middle East, sail it around the Horn of Africa, all to come there with tens of thousands of troops that are all on their way. And the 82nd Airborne is already there. And you got these Marine Expeditionary Forces that are coming from Asia, not to use them. At least so far in the Trump administration. Yeah. Every time there was thousands of troops in the Caribbean, all their talk about Maduro. At the end of the day, what do? We went and we kidnapped him. So here with Iran, it's very unlikely usually, you know, to not have all these forces and not use them. You could say it is a deterrent effect, and it certainly has been in U.S. history. But with this president, when the troops are there, he tends to use them. That's just my general analysis. I'm curious for your view.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because actually just within the last 20 or so minutes, the Associated Press is out with a report.
Yeah,
I'm reading from the, so they're saying that—
M2, please, while she's talking.
Yeah, we can pop that up on the screen. So they're saying that in principle, there's an agreement on the table. And this is what is interesting about your point, Sagar, that you're following the troops and not necessarily just the deals, because Trump said on, we're going to cover this in a bit, Maria Bartiromo show this morning, it's going to be a big 2 days in the Iran ceasefire negotiations. Pay attention to the next 2 days. So is this what his 2-day, was it this in principle agreement? Is that what he was telegraphing?
Yeah.
Watch the next 48 hours, and how significant?
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I hate the way he treats diplomacy and news from the White House. Like, I'm sorry, like, yeah, y'all remember, say it for next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z, 9 minutes of Vegeta fuming, 11 minutes of Goku fretting, plus somebody throws a punch. To find out who, tune in next week to Dragon Ball Z.
And all the different shows that used to give you like a snippet, like, or talk to you at the end of the episode as the, you know, the fading out was about to happen, and then you had a whole week of like, wait, what do I do with myself for this week? So I hate the way that he treats, you know, the presidency like it's that moment in a TV show where, yeah, there's going to be more exciting war. There's going to be more exciting war in the next 2 days. Stay tuned. In 2 days, we'll be, you know, getting rid of an entire civilization at 8 o'clock. Don't touch that dial. Like, what is this?
It actually is that.
Let's break it down, right? So this is an AP headline. It comes from Cairo, so always take a look at the dateline. It says, mediators moved closer Wednesday to extending the ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran and restarting negotiations to salvage the fragile truce before it expires. Senior Iranian military official threatened to halt trade in the region if the U.S. does not lift its naval blockade. So that's all we got, all right? No, the Dateline. It's from Cairo.
And
So
nobody else is running with this.
nobody
as we
else
know.
is running it. It's the Egyptians who are leaking it. That's fine. Maybe it's true. But Egypt, has it really been the driving force? So let's give, again, a bigger picture to the audience. It's Egypt, it's Turkey, and it's Pakistan, which are these like negotiators and or ceasefire. Like, you know, they're the ones who are mediating between all three of the countries. Egypt actually has pretty good relations and has been on the phone quite a bit, both with the US and with Iran. Yeah, but even that, you got a mediator here saying in principle an extension. Maybe that's true. However, even if it is true, an extension of a ceasefire is not an end to hostilities. And we have all of these bigger picture things. Again, with Venezuela, we saw on and off and on and off until
Yes.
assets could move to the region.
With Gaza as well, by the way.
Yeah, go into it. Go ahead.
Well,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I mean, how many times did we hear in principle, I mean, maybe not that exact phrase, but over and over again, Trump was saying, similar to what he's doing now, stretched out over 6 months or so, that we have a deal, we have an agreement, or we're very close to ending the war.
Right.
And so it's part of his, I mean, at least he sees it as part of his negotiation of just putting things.
No, why can't we just say, like, he's lying? He's lying. This is he lies to us on the regular. He lies to us on the regular, and he's hoping that he can make the lie the truth. You know what I mean? Like, he starts off with the lie, and then he behind the scenes tries to make that lie reality. Like, whatever. Yeah.
things out in public and hoping that it sticks with the American people and then hoping that it moves the deal in one direction or another.
Everybody, I mean, let's remember from that New York Times story is that Trump had decided to attack Iran long before all of those negotiations had even happened in the month of February. He'd basically decided to attack them in early February. So all of those Jared Kushner talks
Great point.
and Omar, it's all kayfabe. Now,
It's a great point.
I mean, something tells me this time he actually does want a deal because he's panicking a little bit
He
because of the
seems
price of
like it.
oil, the economy, but you never know. You know, he kind of seemed like he wanted a deal at that time too. And you got all these tens of thousands of troops there. You just have to think on a long enough timeline with Israel and with Trump and the unpredictability and the lack of real good faith happening in these negotiations. And remember what I flagged for everybody yesterday, the technical experts. I talked with some few others. There was basically no real technical expert in the room in Islamabad. There was the vice president, there was a defense attaché. The defense attaché, that's nothing. Like, we need to be talking serious civilian and military nuclear scientists, the same people who tried to hash out JCPOA. On the Iranian side, remember this too, they're terrified. They
Yeah, I think he's not gonna get into it. But in a previous video, he did highlight the fact that if they were really serious about any of these negotiations, when it comes to nuclear capabilities and all that, that they would have those technical experts, is what he's saying, in the room, right? If they were really talking about a nuclear enrichment to a certain extent, like, hey, you won't have nuclear weapons. Okay, well then what kind of enrichment are you allowing us to do, or are you comfortable with us doing? And without having tech experts in there, you know, they could be talking about a percentage of nuclear enrichment and like, hey, like, that's fine. That's not, weapons grade, you know what I'm saying? And what they had Jared Kushner and the other dude, Mike Lindell, like whatever his name is, them two, you know what I'm saying, that aren't even part of the administration in there, and they're negotiating. And when you start talking about nuclear enrichment and things like that, like if you were talking about me to that extent, I would be like, yeah, man, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Let me talk. And then if I called somebody and said, hey, they want to, nuclear enrichment at 2.7, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, whoa, nuclear? Fuck no. Hey, tell their ass no nuclear. And then, case in point, now, we tell the public that we had to attack them. They wanted, nuclear weapons. So, like I said, it's a saga argument, and I dumbed it down to my dumbass way of rationalizing what he was saying. But yeah, no, I get that. Like, it makes perfect sense that you would have some sort of expert in the room on creating a deal that allows us oversight of their nuclear program. And right now we don't have that, and we're not even acting like that we want that.
can't even make a deal because they have to go back and then hand off a piece of paper to 10 different people just to get an okay from the supreme leader. It probably takes 2 or 3 days just to talk to him, like bin Laden and the courier, remember? Because they don't want him to be killed.
Right.
And then from our side, JD, at a minimum, we know, had to phone Trump 6 or 7 times in the middle of negotiations. So he screwed him. He had absolutely no authority to make a deal, right? So you put all those together, the machinery of this, it can't happen in 2 weeks. Maybe even in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, what they will say, let's say even if we do have some big picture thing, we've reached a memorandum of understanding pending working out the details.
Exactly.
Well, what is Israel's masterpiece? Every single time they slither in and they're like, oh, well, what we'll do is this one particular red line, that's a violation. And then they try to move it and they work on Trump, some bad faith stuff. And the next thing you know, we're back to bombing or something bad can happen. All of this has just been, proof positive of why you shouldn't conduct yourself. And also, let's put M3 up there on the screen. Again, just a flag for everybody. Iran's top military command came out today and says it will disrupt trade flow in the Gulf of Oman, and the Red Sea if U.S. naval actions targeting Iranian shipping continue. Said any such move would be viewed as a breach of the ceasefire. So there you go. I mean, the Iranian Navy or the Iranian naval assets.
Stay tuned for the next 2 days.
The small assets that they have for blocking the strait. So far, at least according to CENTCOM, they have all turned around. Nobody knows if that's true. Remember our segment yesterday. There's a lot of contradictory evidence, but CENTCOM says, the U.S. military, we've turned all of these Iranian ships around. Let's assume it's true. Okay, so in that scenario, what it means is, let's put M1 up there on the screen, is that Iran faces a halt to oil production within weeks if the blockade succeeds. They only have 16 days of output for storage before they have to do the same thing the Gulf did and turn their refineries down, which would be a devastating blow to their economy. So that's a ticking clock right there in terms of where they have to go before they face basically economic annihilation. And we know from them that if they face economic annihilation, they will face and produce economic annihilation for Saudi Arabia by closing the Red Sea and the Bab al-Mandeb straight through the Houthis and their proxies, which is why, as we reported to everybody yesterday, a U.S. carrier has to sail not through the Red Sea as it normally would, all the way around Africa, costing hundreds of millions of dollars and delaying their arrival by, I don't even know, I think it's like 2 weeks of sail time. So there's a lot of dangerous stuff here on the horizon.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say is, barring some significant concessions that would be really surprising from Iran and really sudden from Iran, we're not on the off ramp right now. It's just, that's just not what's happening. So he's trying to almost, I don't want to sound glib, but like project a self-fulfilling prophecy into the universe. And it's kayfabe, as you said. I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's what Trump is trying to do. If you ever read the Steve Jobs biography, they talk a lot about the reality distortion field. And that's fine when we're talking about like a blue Mac, okay? But that's not like a specific shade of blue. Yeah, but it was beautiful, by the way. Yeah. What was the? I think it was called Bondi Blue. The Bondi Blue 1997 Mac. Gorgeous computer. All right. Thank you, Steve, for forcing that. However, that's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about a perfectly symmetrical cube computer, right? Which he once insisted on. We're talking about geopolitics and trying to force a reality in which where he's already been deeply humbled and come at great cost to the U.S. So that's our little mini update here at the top. Anything else you want to say?
To be fair, he has not been deeply humbled. That would be impossible.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe not publicly, but behind the scenes, I definitely think so.
Agreed.
Hey,
obviously that's the end of this one. Y'all let me know what you think. Obviously we don't have anything concrete, but this is a big move. These negotiations don't seem like they're going well. It seems like a lot of posturing, but yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all feel confident that we're gonna get a deal going, or are y'all just like on the edge of your seat waiting for the next episode? Make sure if y'all learned something with this, share it with your people, keep the information flowing, keep the conversation going. But yeah, until next time, I'll holla at you. I don't think you wanna be my enemy. I pop out, they go wild, so celebrity. Too busy winning, I forgot that I got friend.